Okay, so a lot of you guys been blowing up the page wanting me to do the next part of the life story video. I don't even know what number this is, so I'll just pick up where I left off. Probably after this one, I'll jump around because at some point I'm going to tell all you guys all the thing about Street Outlaws, how I got started. You're going to find out eventually anyway. Well, I'm done and I quit. I got my release. I'm no longer a part of it. So we'll come back to that story. Probably the next one or something. I'm gonna do it in 3 or 4 parts because there's a lot to that, and it's kind of be one of them deals. I'm gonna tell you guys things that nobody knew and nobody even dreamed went on in that stuff. So probably be getting a letter from or a phone call after this part. So I think where I left off last time was the incident with the altercation in prison. So I'm sitting there thinking about the 17,696 day or whatever the hell it was that I was gonna have to do to be able to get back out and get to my family. I decided I better figure out how to keep good time, and they give you so many days for so many classes that you take. I signed up for every class that I could take. Daily living skills, you got like 15 days. I took a VOTEC class. Everybody else know my construction background. I had never done construction in my life. I took a carpentry class in VOTEC. We built some houses. That was my construction experience when I got out. But I got like 90 days for that completion. I took the Lifeline drug program, got 90 days for completing that. So I'm trying to whittle my sentence down when on my 120-day review, the court called me back. I went back on a 120-day review to see if I could get them to do it, give me a sentence reduction. So I had a 15 to 5 and a 15 running wild. 15 years for possession of methamphetamine, 5 years for possession of oxycodone, 15 years for possession of ephedrine. So 15, 5, 15 running wild. So I go back on my 120-day review, and Gordon Melson, the judge that presided over my case, had never sent a middle-class white boy down for that amount of time. Shouldn't even said the white boy part, but that would give somebody else something to bitch about. It just, he never sent nobody down for that rack of time like that. But like he told me in my sentencing, you thumbed your nose through this whole proceedings, you showed no remorse. He ran the sentences wild. But when I went back on the 120-day review, my attorney at the time was running for that judge's seat, and his thing was he was running it on, Gordon Melson's too light. He's too easy. So my attorney actually couldn't even represent me on the deal. So one of his other attorneys actually went on the 120-day review and I said, George, I'm not gonna get nothing like this. It just so happened I'd met a guy named Frank Carter in there that super nice guy. Frank's pretty sure Frank's passed away now, but he I know he has. But he went and talked. He was very good friends with Gordon Melson. He went and talked to Gordon Melson and said, "Hey, this guy's got a beautiful little family." He said, and he described meeting me down at the visiting yard. And Gordon Melson said, that don't sound like the same guy that went in. So he pulls me back on the review. He goes that night, the night before my review, talks to another judge that was going to preside over my case. And I'm hoping they're just going to run all these sentences into 115. I mean, that's what I'm praying for. And when I show up at court, Gordon Melson releases himself from the case. And I about had to run away because I thought, I'm screwed. This other judge was not known for being lenient. I didn't know at the time that Gordon Melson went over and talked to him and said, give him something, do something. He's really trying. They knew all the stuff that I've been signed up for and the classes that I was taking. So the judge, when Gordon Melson recluses himself off of it, I'm sitting there going, but Your Honor, I mean, I'm stuttering, I'm stammering. I'm like, oh, they just went my only shot. The other judge comes in, he sits down, goes through all my paperwork stuff. Now, to give you an idea, I got 105 days good time for what they called cap. And I got 44 days, or I got 30 days, or whatever the days in the month, 30, 31, whatever they were, plus 44 days for being on level 4. So, do the math on that, I was getting like 175, 174, 175, 176 days every month for good time. Just about the time that I go on my 120-day review, at that time, it was going to take me 17 years to discharge all my sentences. The judge turns around and says, listen, I reviewed your case, blah, 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 blah. I'm going to suspend the back 15. Guys, that cut my sentence in half. I mean, almost exactly in half. Because I had a 15, a 5, and a 15 running wild. So there's light at the end of the tunnel. I'm down to 20 years. I'm like, I can do this. I can do this. Gave me hope. I thought I'm going to be back with my family. This is great. The next month, cap time was taken. 105 days a month. I was exactly back where I was when I had cap time, then before I got the back 15 suspended. And that was a tough time for me, because the whole reason I dumped the clutch like I did when I did was I had a shop in town. I'm trying to do right. I told you guys this in another one. I was trying to do right, and they came in over a stolen car that I had nothing to do with. I ended up getting into an all right. You guys go back, you can find that video. But that's why I dumped the clutch in the first place, because if they were going to accuse me of something I didn't do, I might as well do everything. Those same feelings were coming over me. I'm like, I can make a phone call. I can have whatever I want up in here. I'll flood this place with dope. I'll pay people to bring it in, because you get anything that you get out here, you can get in the penitentiary. It just costs a lot more to do it. And I'm sitting there thinking I could be making $5,000 to $6,000 a month. I was going to a dark place real fast. And a guy that's doing 3,800 years, his name is, everybody calls him Budlow Jennings. And he's doing that time for a crime he didn't commit. Now, do not get me wrong. Budlow he's a convict. And he is, the only side I know of him is a very good side, because he pulled me up and he pulled me out of that dark place. He's doing 3,800 years for a crime he didn't commit. That's a fact. Not saying he hadn't done other stuff in the past that could have got him a life sentence, but he is doing it on this particular sentence. He did not commit this crime. I've read the guy's confession that said, I'm the one that did this. I told Budlow, I said, you had that for 10 years. He's been in for almost 35 years now. Maybe 40 by now. But he said, because I have to testify against him, I'm not a rat. Gotta admire that, doing 3,800 years for the rest of your life. But he pulls me up. He tells me, he said, let me tell you something. Now, understand this, guys. This man was feared in the penitentiary system. Do not get me wrong. He was, like I said, the side I seen of him was a great side. The side that anybody that crossed him seen was a bad side. He was on, probably still is, 70-something years old, better shape than I am, and he is still one of the most feared people in the penitentiary system, because you don't want to mess with Budlow. Let's just put it that way. But he pulls me up, probably the only guy that I am semi-scared of. I would never want to fight Budlow, ever, because just that thought, one, I would never even think about that. But that's one man, that's probably the only person on this planet that actually scares me. I ain't scared of nobody else, but I am scared of him. So he pulls me up and he says, let me tell you something, boy. He said, you get back after that family. You better straighten up. You better not do what you're thinking about doing. I'm like, Budlow, I'm wiped out. 17 years, I ain't gonna be good to nobody. He said, you do what you gotta do, but don't do what you're fixing to do. And that turned me. Because I'd already made the phone calls, guys. I was fixing to flood that thing. I was fixing to have pop brought in. I was fixing to have crank brought in. I was fixing to have it. I was going to flood that yard and probably going to go down that path myself. And there's nothing good that would have came of that. Nothing. But Bud Lowe saved my life right then. When he pulled me up, and he kind of scared me. But I mean, he's in my face going, you can't do this to that little family you got. And it got me thinking, I can't do this to my family. I got to be a man about this. I need to do this time. I need to do it right. So that's when I signed up for the carpentry class. That I actually took the carpentry class, graduated the carpentry class, and then became a tutor at the carpentry class. So that's how I learned construction. Was actually in prison. That I couldn't nail two boards together before that. I learned how to build houses. That's when I was going to get out. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to frame houses. And then I found out it just didn't pay as much money as commercial. So that's why I'm in commercial construction. But it's hard to keep that badger inside. The hardest time I've had with that is being on this TV show. Because I'm used to people that if they got a problem, they come straight to my face with it. I'm not used to the backstabbing, the lying, the bullshit, the patting you on the back, pissing down your leg and telling you it's raining. I'm used to people being what they say they're going to be, doing what they say they're going to do, and being men. So the things that happen really pushed that to the limit. And one good thing that did come out of all that, if I could keep from doing something and letting that badger out, because there's a couple people that I still have to really refrain from doing something really bad to. And that's one thing prison taught me, that I can go back at any time. I can let that badger out at any time. And guys, trust me, it's a fight. Every day I fight that anger. I fight holding that down. I fight. Every once in a while I'll hear a song, something will come over, they call it euphoric recall. Something will come over me, and I want something to make me not go, to make me not think, but I don't. Because I turn around and look at Brantley. I look at my family. I look at all the things I've done. Guys, not too long ago, I went back and read your messages from these. And I pulled strength from that, believe it or not. Some of you guys, what you said, it actually pulled me out of a dark place that I was in just not too long ago. When I'm trying to figure out what I want to do. Do I want to be on this show? Do I not want to be on this show? How bad do you want that number one spot? You're never going to get that number one spot because they're never going to give you a fair chance, blah, 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 blah. And all that shit that I'm fighting inside of me. And I'm doing these videos, to tell everybody, because this is a dark time that we're in, that no matter how bad it gets, you can pull it out. You can pull it up. So probably a month ago, I went back and I was reading you guys' comments on the page and of a couple of these videos. And believe it or not, I pulled my strength from that, because right there at that time, I wasn't fighting my sobriety, but I was fighting my anger, because I just wanted to explode. So these videos are to try to get people to understand that we make bad choices, we have bad problems, but we make the best choices we can at that time, and the only thing we can do as full-grown men is learn from them. I still fight that dark side of me every day. Guy cuts me off in traffic, flips me off. All of that makes me, you guys just don't even know. I have to fight that. I call it the badger in the cage. I have to put my foot up against that cage and not let that badger out. The guys that are getting this, that have led this life, that pulled out early, or people that are headed towards this life, there's other stories, and I'm going to keep telling these. I'm probably going to break into some of the street outlaw stuff, because some of that stuff's going to set you guys on your ass, I promise you. But there's another part of it. There's how I got my construction experience. I still fight not on a daily basis, but about 2 or 3 times a month, that badger is beating at that cage and trying to get out that door, and I have to fight it. So if I can do it, you can do it. If I can stay sober through this shit, you can stay sober through it. So until the next time, we're out of time right now. As you guys see, my boy Matt and Richard Willman been rewiring Weeper. It is a Weeper right now because you don't run. But that's the end of the video, guys. I'm gonna drop one of these every Wednesday. We are gonna do the podcast this Friday. I'm gonna try to get back on top of that. Going back to work full time in the field. Kind of beat my balls square. But I'm gonna get on top of it. I'm gonna continue to do these as long as you guys want to see them, as long as there's something positive coming out of it. Because if one of you don't get high tonight, one of you don't go put a gun on somebody and rob them, somebody don't beat somebody down tonight because of this video, this is worth it. It's worth me laying basically everything inside me out in public for you guys to know.